All right, here we are again. I'm gonna get my gums a flapping. Welcome back to another video here on My Church is Your Church. Give it a thumbs up if you would. We'll get that out of the way in the beginning. Normally I say it at the end, but people are probably already gone by then. So now that we're in the beginning, see this thumb? Oh wait, I got over here. It's bigger than my head. Come on now, thumbs up. Imagine if this big old thumb, if that was a green thumb, I could really do some gardening, huh? A thumb that size. So, we get silly. You know, it's looking at that school bus over there. Pretty sure you can see it at the window here. Oh yeah, there's plenty of room for me to sit back and you can still see my mug. But a lot of people in the RV van life stuff like doing schoolies, they call them. They build RVs out of schoolies, school buses. And for anybody that doesn't know about, there's a whole lot about the RV van life stuff. I guess if I was going to do a schoolie, something big like that, a full size like that, would be nice to have because you got a lot of extra room, especially if you got a family or traveling with a bunch of people. But when you get something like that, you can't park just anywhere. Now, this little camper that I'm in is 21 and a half feet from bumper to bumper. Throughout the United States, 22 feet or less, you can park in any legal parking spot. You know, well, it's got to be 22 feet or less long, and it's got to be less than 8 feet wide, I think. You know, which this is, I think this is 7.5 feet, about. And, therefore, because of its size, it can park in any legal parking spot that any car could park in, you know. And you shouldn't get ticketed or tagged, you know. Whereas something bigger like that, you know, if you tried to park in a regular spot, well, especially something like that takes up more than 2 spots. But, you know, you're hanging out so far, like a camper that's, say, 24 feet is going to hang out 2 feet past legal distance. So you could get a ticket for that, you know. I mean, now you could probably get away with a lot of spots, parking that's only 2 feet, you know, that maybe somebody that you're not going to get ticketed, but legally you could get ticketed. Now, if you can find a place to back in spots, like right here, this is not a back in spot because this is a boat launch, so all the spots are right here in the middle. There are no outside spots. But if it was an outside spot by a curb, well, then you could back up and have your back end go, you know, past the curb and hang out. Well, then you wouldn't be taking up that extra 2 feet, you know, parking, because it would be hanging out over the grass. But I don't know. They might. I don't know if they could technically ticket you then or not. I don't know. But it's important to know, you know. So if you plan on traveling around the country, you know, if you keep to 22 feet or less, well, then you're pretty good at parking just about anywhere without getting ticketed. Now, they might not want you to park there overnight, but if it's a 24-hour store, like a grocery store or something that's open 24 hours, well, you know, pretty good odds you're going to be able to spend the night there and not get harassed, you know, especially if you go in and shop, you know. And in my travels, even gas stations that are open 24 hours, because gas stations got parking as well, and since this is under 22 feet, in the last 4 years I've lived in it, like say I went to a gas station we have here in Minnesota called Quick Trip. Doesn't matter though if it's Quick Trip, Holiday, Circle K, Speedy, you know. I figure if I pull up, if I just put $70 or $100 in gas in my camper, and I'm tired, and I need to get some sleep, and if I just put in $70 in gas, and I might even go in and buy a sandwich or something, you know, or some pop or whatever, you know, but figure, especially since I gassed up, you know, I pull over into a parking spot and I might zonk out and crash for 8, 10, 12 hours or be there for even a 24-hour period. I might even stick around there if I'm feeling lazy and don't feel like driving yet, or if traffic's really crazy, or, you know, if there's road construction going on or something. And I might be like, well, traffic and road construction, now that I've gotten west in that, well, I might as well wait till tonight or later in the night when the traffic isn't as much, you know, so I ain't in bumper to bumper traffic burning fuel. And then I just hang out there because I figure I'm a customer, you know. Now, I wouldn't stay there for a week or nothing, like that. But I don't think I've ever stayed 2 days at a gas station. Normally, any gas stations, I just might stay for about close to a 24-hour period. I think I've done. I don't think I've made it past 24 hours yet. If I have, it was like 30 hours or something. Maybe I might have been really tired, pulled in the morning, and crashed right away or something, and then woke up in the night and didn't want to feel like leaving because it was the middle of the night, and then did some stuff and went back to sleep. And then when I woke up, I was already past when I got there, or something. So maybe something like that, where I've been there just a little over a day at a gas station. But other than that, normally it was like one day. It was the most I'd stay one spot in most cases, because I had income. So and then I just bounce, and I wanted to bounce anyway and live life, enjoy it, So it has its advantages. I got off with the schoolie thing. I forgot. I was talking about schoolies. I don't know how I got sidetracked again. Just who I am. When I started talking about the schoolies, because I got into the short ones. 22 feet's better. Sorry, I got so sidetracked because I was going to talk about the schoolies and why people like them so much. I think if I was going to do a schoolie remodel, I'd want to do the short bus version and make sure it was 22 feet or less from bumper to bumper, just so I could still park in a normal spot. But another reason why people like them so much is it's a school bus. It's built for safety, for rollovers and stuff. So, to protect the children. So if the children are in there and they're buckled in, and if something happens and that bus rolls over, the roof doesn't crush in and collapse easy, It's got a built-in like roll cage system. It's built strong, to protect the children. So, whereas a camper like this is built really cheap, and if you roll this thing over, it's crushing, coming apart. That's a done deal, So that's what a lot of people like schoolies for that reason, because you can take a school bus and you can repaint it any way you want. It doesn't have to be orange, and they're just really durable. They're strong, so it gives you that comfort and safety knowing that even if you roll over, it's not going to get crushed and everything going to go flying, or you're better off. You've got a better chance of surviving a rollover than you do. Like if I had extra people in here in the back of the camper, even though there's seatbelts and stuff, if this thing rolled over, it's not a good scene. This thing ain't gonna. It could crunch together really easy because of the way it's built. That, on the other hand, no. That's built much, much stronger. So that's a little lesson about why people like doing school buses and converting them. I would think it's kind of the same for the coach buses that they're kind of maybe built strong, but I don't know if they're built as strong as the school buses. And I don't know if the school buses are as strong as they used to be, the older ones, because the older ones had more of a rounder roof, and this one it's still got the roundness, but not as round as some of the older ones. I've seen one video of a guy that had where am I at here? Oh, I can go a little longer yet. I've seen a video of one guy that had a schoolie, and what he had done is he had made a big roof rack up there, like a metal grate roof rack that would go around where his roof vents are, He had a ladder on the back, and it was so strong, he could go to like racetracks, or it didn't matter where he went, but everybody could climb up the ladder. They could put lawn chairs up there or whatever, and they could have a ton of people up on the roof, no problem. You could not do that on this camper. It would crunch in, But of course, the roof rack was more durable anyway. I could probably put a roof rack on this, but it ain't going to be nowhere as strong as like that schoolie or that school bus. So, and then now they've even got solar panels that you can stand and walk on. I've seen a guy do a van, kind of like a Sprinter van. This was a good 5 years back too. He did 2 500-watt solar panels that were big enough to cover the whole, pretty much almost the whole length of his van, which probably was a Sprinter or something like that. And so he was probably 22 feet or under, I'm sure, but it could have been 24 feet, I'm not sure. But basically, those solar panels took up the whole area space of his roof, so he had them raised up so it was like his vents could open from underneath or whatever. But because there were solar panels you could walk on, he brought a bunch of people up there with him to show how strong they were, and everybody went up and was standing around on the roof, so you could still use the upper roof as a deck, and it's still a solar panel. That was really cool to see. Eventually, I would like to have something like that on a rig, because of me doing my other YouTube channel, not so much this one, but I could even do some videos for this one that way. But I got to get back to my other YouTube channel a little bit too and start doing some more videos for that. Because that one I get creative on with editing and stuff like that. But I don't put out videos nowhere like as quick as this one. But that's because when God tells you He wants to talk about Him, you kind of start doing what He says. I don't know. Maybe I'm doing it with overkill. I don't know. But yeah, eventually I'd like to have something like that. And just because for filming wise, even, that's, that gets you, well, it gets your feet 10, 12 feet in the air, which means your camera could be up a lot higher, so you can get a better angle. So like if you're at a event or a function or a park or that, you ain't gotta worry about people in front of you walking around blocking your camera angle. You're up higher, so you can get a good shot of everything, So that'd be kind of neat too. So it has its advantages. Plus, if you're at a campground or something and it's tight quarters, well, you could still go up there and spread out a towel and use it as a sunbathing deck. And since you're up in the air, not as many people are going to be able to look at you and see if you've got any insecurities about, like I would, about my big old body. So it's got a lot of advantages. Yeah. Well, I get some subjects to flying on this channel. But I guess we'll call that one a short stop right there. Thank you for watching. God bless you, and we will see you on the next one. Thumbs up if you would. See ya.